Hello. In this video, I'm going to talk about case study. So what is a case study? A case study is really a story about an organization, an incident, a decision needed to be made, interaction between colleagues, interaction in the market with consequences, etc. It could be about marketing issue, it could be about human resource management issue, it could be about business strategy, any aspect of the organization or the institution. Of course, it could be outside business. You can also use case studies in social studies and education, etc. But I'm here speaking about case studies in business. So with this case study, then we will look into the characters involved in the case study. We try to understand these characters, position, situation, way of thinking, maybe set of knowledge and skills, and look into the situation itself. So what is the issue? What is it, a problem needed solution? Is it an opportunity in the market to take? Is it a decision needed to be made? Or is it simply evaluation of what happened and whether to understand it through different concepts and maybe theories relevant to explaining a phenomenon or a situation, and then evaluate whether the decisions made or the behaviors used were the most appropriate, or is there a better way to go about it. Now, with case studies, the first important element is how to read it, to be able to analyze it. And to identify the issue, the abstract or the executive summary will be very helpful to start with. And then usually case studies has discussion questions at the end. And even if they didn't, then the tutor will provide some. So trying to look into the questions before reading the case study could give you an indication of what to look for in the case study. And that is really important. So while you're reading, some case studies are really short and crisp, but the majority are quite long with many information that could be redundant. It is there to distract you or give you a context that not necessarily directly related or relevant to the solution or to the answer of the question or to the evaluation. So to know what's relevant while you're reading, reading the questions first will be very helpful. So I would recommend that. And of course, then going through what are the issues, identifying these issues, identifying what's relevant to the questions, identifying what context do you need to recognize and understand to answer these questions. You could, I would recommend, have a piece of paper, a draft, where you put the questions and leave space under each to start putting the important information there, filling the gaps. Each information relates to which question mostly. For example, fact, and then which concept is relevant to it. So in business studies, we expect you to be able to apply these concepts and theories that explain situations and enable you to make better decisions, direct you towards better decisions. So identify what's relevant there. And that will be really helpful to enable you to focus and know which theory or which concept or which model you will be using to analyze the case study. So what is the analysis of the case study? It's simply looking into, based, for example, on Porter's 5 forces. Who were the different stakeholders in the industry, and what were their bargaining powers, and how the dynamic were. You don't have to look at all of them. Consider what's available and what's relevant. Pestle analysis, the political environment, marketing environment as a macro environment, and what's relevant from it legally, for example, stability, etc., to that industry, to that organization in particular, and to its business decisions. The same in terms of economic, socio-cultural, technology, environment, etc. So that's an example, really. And then link the theory to the practice in terms of what solutions are available there, what could be different options available, whether they mentioned them in the case study, whether this is something that you believe that they could have thought about. And then if it is you bringing the solution, what would you recommend, or what would you've done differently if it is an evaluation, for example. So write your answers after you identified your solutions and your recommendations. So you know what you're arguing for and how to justify that, and what are the reasonings, and how did you analyze the data based on a methodology or a theory, a concept, a model that led you to the decisions you made. And that usually quite helpful. So as we said, reading is really important. Now, you may need to read it more than once, the case study. You may identify the important information and go back to them. Some of you would highlight them first and then move into the paper. Some will do both at the same time, whatever you feel comfortable with, but manage your time, and that's the key thing. Usually, if it is an assessed activity, or even if it is a class activity, it is limited in time due to class limited time. If it is something that you're doing to look into personal development and looking into learning something new from stories and case studies from other organizations, then also your time is limited. And I do really recommend personal development and study. So look into interesting case studies, identify time limit for you to spend on it, and examine it in details as if you've been assessed for it, and look for what you learn and discover out of it. And you'd have some example then to share when you're arguing for something specific at work and a specific decision. So that's hopefully will be helpful. Now, how do you write or answer a question in a case study? The structure of the question. The main thing here is to focus on the question. What is the question about? And how you can clarify what is your answer and then justify it. So think about it as introduction, body, and conclusion, but focus that your introduction is quite swiftly short and focused on what is the issue in this question, what is it about, and what is your main response, whether it's an evaluation decision or whether it's a solution you're offering that you recommend. And then in the body, now here, structure it in a way that shows how did you analyze the information of the case study using a model, a theory, a structured, systematic approach to analyze them. And this is where the a theory or a concept or a model, that will be really helpful. Through that, you're showing justifications of your choices and your answer in a logical order. Don't be descriptive. Always consider the question and be able to answer the question. Apart from if the question asks you to describe something, and this is rare, you might do that. But other than that, you're not describing and you're not explaining theories. Forget about that. What you are doing here is really applying them to the analysis, using them as a structure for your analysis and for developing your argument and sharing it in a clear articulation within the answer. The conclusion is similar to the introduction. After all, this is what I talked about, and this is what I recommended or I concluded if it is evaluation, etc. I hope that was helpful, and until next time.